What was your personal feelings towards Adolf Hitler? You could say it. Say it. Let it fly. Shithead.
Hated the motherfucker.
Why?
Well, he thought he was going to rule the world. One person can't do that.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
Like, did they pick on the Northerners more
I
than?
think they're a little bit harder.
Yeah, I figured that. They're still listen. A lot of them are still fighting a civil war now.
Yeah, oh yeah, hell yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try driving through Virginia.
They
see New Jersey license plates.
You gotta be careful when you say.
So you find out you're going to ship overseas. What's that? Was it dread? Was it a feeling of, oh no?
You had to do it.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth, we went over on 5 days.
And that's not a cruise liner, just so everybody knows.
That's a QE2 and all those things.
5 days. Just remember that.
Wow.
Even a zigzag course.
You're right, because you gotta
we had
avoid the U-boats.
We had the opportunity to man the guns on the top deck.
Okay. Did you
because we were in artillery at that time.
When you were going across, did you come across any U-boats, any resistance?
No. A couple of times they sped up the boat a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Something must have been in the area, but we weren't aware of it.
Now, what was the conversation like on the boat between you and your fellow soldiers?
Well,
like a lot of
you can say whatever you want.
Like a lot of what the fucks are we getting into?
The conversation was on the lower deck was a bunch of wax.
Well, those are the conversations that people need to hear, because everybody thinks that everybody has a very romanticized version of World War II, but it's still war. And Chris, war is war, Chris.
Yeah.
And you guys are young kids. I'm sure cursing like I don't want to say sailor,
drunken sailor,
because you're Army, so you don't call an Army vet a sailor. But I'm sure you were talking about girls and all the stuff that young kids talk about, right?
Right.
Yeah, playing cards, gambling.
A lot of false bravado too.
Friday nights.
Yeah.
Friday nights.
In the latrine.
And seasick. Well, you have all the other things: seasickness, horrible food.
You couldn't complain.
Really?
You're lucky to get something to eat.
Well, you're a captive audience. You can't complain. If you're going to eat, you're going to eat.
So your diet.
It's not like McDonald's is going to fly anything out to you down there back then.
How long? In this, we're going to fast forward for a second. How long after you got out of the Army did you stop putting Tabasco and ketchup on everything?
Everything. Absolutely right. Right.
I put that shit on everything.
My grandfather always did that. I could never understand, like ketchup and Tabasco on everything, and he did that for his entire life. He was a vet just like you. But
we basically, when we got over there, we were fed. We had a kitchen set up. No matter where we went, we landed in Ireland and Belfast. We stayed there a few days and went on into England. Wales, then down into England. We wound up in southern England, a little town called Weston-super-Mare.
You didn't run into any Donaldsons over in Belfast, did you?
No.
That's where my family's from.
I stayed trip.
They would have helped you. They would have given you some liquor and some beer. And,
yeah.
Some potatoes.
They would give you a couple potatoes, yeah.
The only Donaldson I know gives me a headache now.
The shine off of your head gives me a headache.
Keep going with the questioning, right?
Mr. Gibson, I just want to know, how is it that you have more hair at 98 years old than my partner, Mike?
I don't have as much as he does.
Oh, you got more than he does? Look at it.
Some on the back there.
In fact, I just got a haircut yesterday.
But see, he's a good-looking guy. He doesn't have to cover his face with hair. With hair like you do.
Thank you. I'm a good-looking guy. That's what you just said.
Mr. Gibson is a
we
good-looking
always wore
guy.
a helmet.
That rubs the hair off a lot.
Yeah. Net underneath it,
Well, you were probably still shaved clean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess there wasn't probably a whole lot of showering going on.
No, hell no. It was what we got in England, though.
Yeah. They treated you good. I guess the people in England and Ireland and Scotland, they were probably thrilled to see you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
At least a little bit of peace is coming their way. Now, at this time in the war.
That's when they sowed their wild oats, when all the The Irish women saw him and said, "Hey, sailor."
So look at this.
We went to town dance.
Look at the smile on his face. I love it. I love it. Now I know D-Day is the technical portion of World War II where we were winning. We were truly winning. What was the feeling as far as who was winning the war when you landed in England?
We couldn't care less. We had the job to do and do it.
See, that's a man right there.
That is.
You have a job to do.
I got chills when he said that.
And a lot of times we didn't like it either, you know.
Oh, of course. I hate my job a lot. But I do it. But I also don't have bullets flying in my head of my job.
Hate this podcast at times, too. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
See what I got to deal with, Mr. Gibson?
Yeah. Well, when we first landed on the beach, we got a job of guarding the armor depot, munition depot. And it was pretty good size, the size of a field. And second night, they bombed the place. Cause you couldn't walk any place unless there was a shot going off.
Yeah, no kidding.
Really? No kidding.
Nobody got killed, but we stayed plenty low, though.
How long were you were you stationed in Ireland, in England, before? A year before Operation Overlord, which is the term used by the higher ups for the D-Day invasion.
Right. We spent a lot of time in Wales practice firing. At that time, we were getting all new equipment too.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Well, I guess I know the war machine in Germany. They were hurting for raw materials, so they were starting to wind down their production. I know, and thankfully so, because from everything I've read, Germans had better technology than the U.S.
No question.
Yeah. I heard this from...
example is that the 88 gun.
The 88 gun?
88 gun.
That was a portable... No matter where you stepped, they could watch you.
My uncle George was prisoner of war for 27 months in Germany. And he, at the end of his prisoner... his prisonership, I don't know what the top right term is, prisonership. He was guarding, they were fixing up their jet planes because the Germans came out with the jet plane, and he always called it a polka dot plane. And every day it came back, and they would put another American flag on it because it shot down an American plane, until one day it came back on the back of a truck. And he said all the prisoners, they all cheered because that plane was a dangerous plane.
Let me tell you, the older German people were for us.
Yeah.
The younger ones we had to watch.
Really? Why do you think that is? That's a good point.
I don't know. Probably the bringing up.
Yeah.
This is Hitler's time. You do this, you do that. We're going to do this. And they had to do it too.
What was your personal feelings towards Adolf Hitler? You could say it. Say it. Let it fly. Shithead.
Hated the motherfucker.
Why?
Well, he thought he was going to rule the world. One person can't do that.
Correct.
And the people that he had, I think some of them understood this too.
The older generation understood that he couldn't do it, but he brainwashed the younger generation to think that he could do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's your discrepancy in the old Germans and the young Germans.
We got to the point where they take our uniforms off a dead soldier and wear it.
Really?
And you wouldn't know who the hell you had.
Right, because it's not like they're
this wasn't at the end of the war either. This was during the war.
I never thought about that aspect of it, but it makes perfect sense. You got to camouflage yourself any way you can.
Hell yes.
Yeah. So at what point do you know that this big invasion's coming? Obviously, you can't tell anybody. You can't write a letter home.
Well, we were preparing to leave England.
Yeah.
Everything had to be waterproofed. And we spent practically 3 weeks, nothing but waterproofing equipment.
What was something, give me an idea of what you had to waterproof.
All electrical components. And this is nothing but graphite and oil.
Mm-hmm.
And it would stick to any location that you put it.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that was in contact with electricity, and like the motor equipment, all the spark plugs and things had to be covered.
Wow.
And it took us hell of a while to do this.
So you seem like a fairly intelligent man. So you know you're going somewhere to invade. You know you're doing a water landing, right? These are all things that you're extrapolating from how you're preparing.
Yeah, and we had a couple practice invasion for loading LST too.
At what point did you say this is happening?
Right when we're doing that, because we lost one LST that procedure.
No kidding.
And we knew that. It's just a matter of time.
June 5th comes around, the day before the invasion. You guys are loading up. I know the invasion at Utah Beach started at 01:30. What time did you start packing up?
Oh, day before.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had to be for a while.
But don't forget, we had big equipment too.
No sleep that night.
No, hell no. Sleep you didn't get. You weren't worried about sleeping.
What was the atmosphere amongst the guys?
We had to do what they had to do.
Was anybody scared? You know of anybody that turned tail and ran?
Yes, we do. One second lieutenant never went on the beach. He went back on the LST.
It's funny. He's
the one that stood at the chow line and wanted to check your fingernails, see if there's any dirt.
It's funny you say that because during my shooting, one of the lieutenants ran away, left me for dead. It's got to be something with lieutenants.
He's up there with
He was a lieutenant.
Officer.
But this is the turning point where we knew damn well where we were headed.
This shit got real.
Yeah.
This shit just got real.
Yeah.
You start loading up into the LST.
Yep.
Anybody throwing up?
No.
Everybody's stone-faced, stoic.
So did their job. And we had to chain everything fast. Don't forget these damn things are flat-bottom boats. And the English Channel was the smoothest. 78.
Yeah, it wasn't calm day.
So the thing of it is, we had to untangle this stuff, and we got ready to go on the beach. And there was not just like snapping. You had to get going.
It reverts back to your training at that point, also. You know, in the heat of the moment, you go back, you revert right back to your training, and it's like almost like clockwork, and like you said, just keeps going.
The only thing I can remember after we got everything all done, we hadn't pulled out yet. We were all hungry. And the Navy had a lot of canned peaches. Boy, did we tie into them.
It's funny. You know, one of our sponsors is X-Body US, and it really focuses on first responder body health and mental health with a lot of different procedures that they have in there. And you boys, I know you didn't have that stuff, but you still move forward anyway. You didn't have all this mental health training or physical. You had physical training, but
the only thing we had is guts.
Yeah. Guts and balls.
Right.
Go to X-Body US and check for the gut health. That's you had balls the size of cantaloupes. I'm going to say that, and I know it's odd to say that to a 98-year-old man because I was always taught to respect my elders, but you guys had it. You guys had it.
Yeah.
And you're on these LS.
Thank God they did.
The world's a different place. Otherwise, things could have turned out real bad for us.
Believe me, it wasn't easy.
I know. I can't imagine the fortitude.
Especially, like you said, as a 17 or 18-year-old kid, the last thing you're thinking about is strapping on a gun and going to war.
And then we come over on an LST.
Mm-hmm.
Then they dumped us off on a Rhino ferry. That's a flat bottom, like a barge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we went on the beach with because the LST, we had too much weight on it. It couldn't get in close enough.
That door drops.
Yep. Down the ramp, you went
into the water.
No. It went on
the beach. You were actually
on the Rhino ferry first before we went on the beach.
Okay, so you went on the ferry first.
Then we went on the beach.
You're getting closer. Did the Rhino
Every
ferry?
10th round going over your head was a tracer.
So for people who don't know what the tracers are, you'll see it in movies.
It's a red shot.
What people don't realize with those tracers is there's 10 live rounds in between them.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and it probably lit up the sky.
And there wasn't one of us that was 18, 19 years old that wasn't crying. Believe me. And I know this.
Somebody wrote a book about Civil War experience. And they say if any soldier, it was about soldiers in the Civil War. If any soldier tells you they never shit their pants, they're lying.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So, again, this goes back to war is war. I don't care whether it was 70 years ago, 150 years ago, or 300 years ago. You got to think back to Roman soldiers. They're going through the same feelings that you're going through, and the people who went to Iraq and Afghanistan feeling the same things over and over again. Only difference is your training and your support system was probably better than what yours was.
So far,
Yeah.
ours is in the 40s.
So that door, you get on the beach. Every 10th round, every tracer round you see, there's 10 live rounds in there.
Don't forget it. When you're going on the beach, here's these pillboxes up, and you're just like ducks in a pond.
No, it's a shooting gallery.
Yeah, sure. And the only way they get them Germans out of the pillboxes is flamethrowers.
Which is the most dangerous job because a bullet hits the flamethrower.
And they had passed from one pillbox to another, underground.
Oh, yeah, they had the tunnels, which I think the pillboxes are still there, all right?
Some of them.
Some of them. Now, what's going on internally in Bob Gibson?
Oh, boy, we don't know what the hell's next.
Yeah.
Really.
You're in the you never went into the water, but you're seeing
when I went into the water off of the Rhino Ferry, I was driving an M4 tractor with a 90-millimeter gun on the back, and everything was waterproof. Okay, when I went down the ramp, the bomb holes in the beach was pretty deep, some of them, and we were going like this. And the water was up to my lap.
No kidding.
And that was about 6 feet above.
Were you on autopilot at that time, or did the fear set in, or didn't you have time for fear?
We've manned everything ourselves.
No kidding. Now, how many?
My tractor was just like a bulldozer. Had levers instead of steering wheel.
What are you seeing on the beach?
Dead people.
Dead people.
Our job was get off of the beach as soon as you could.
So you actually had to drive over your wounded and dead.
I don't even like to talk about that.
Okay.
Don't forget, we're all 18, 19 years. These poor guys never even had a chance to hit the beach.
There was something like 35,000 troops that hit the beach at Utah. And I know you lost 10%. No, the statistics are 10%.
Roughly.
3,400, I think, were the casualties on the beach.
Yeah.
10%. So think about your current life. Get your 10 closest friends. One of them is gone.
Yep.
One of them is gone. How many of your close compatriots that you were with that we lost?
Still living?
No, that were lost on that beach.
Two main ones.
Two main ones.
Because they were in communications. They were first to set up the communication lines and so forth. We lost them. Two of them in the trailer. The whole thing worked.
Just going back a little bit, how many guys were in your class when you got enlisted? When you
went to basic.
Thank you. When you went to basic, how many people were in your class or your group?
Let's say around 75.
And now all of them went over there. How many actually made it that you know of?
All but two.
All but
Just
two.
all but the two.
You lost two.
Yeah.
But you don't even have a chance to grieve for your friends.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. I had visited Gettysburg, and there was a guy there, and he was reading a letter home from this soldier who charged up Little Round Top. And alongside of him is his brother and his father. And he talks about, he looks to his left and he sees his brother get incinerated by a mortar. And within a heartbeat later, he sees his father get filled full of mini balls. And he doesn't even have a chance to grieve. All he has to do is move forward. Because in 2 seconds' time, he lost his brother and he lost his father. And he still has to move forward.
That's how quick things happen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I got chills thinking about it. Because I don't know how these men were able to move forward with such resiliency. Everybody says it's a different generation. The people who fought in World War II are a different generation. We're people call our generations now a bunch of crybabies. Well, Mike's a crybaby, but not me.
Well, I think my generation knew how to work. And when you know how to work, you're physically and mentally prepared to do anything.
It was an ethic.
Right.
Yeah, it was an ethic.
You know what, though? It really goes back to like the social media question. You know, how long do these memories stay with you? At the onset of it, you know, like you said, you know, seeing all these people dead on the beach. I mean, that's really where it starts. And you have to start moving on from that point.
You know, it's no different
what
than
I'm
us
saying?
going to a critical call.
And then going on to the next call.
Going on
you,
to
you
the
got to
next
keep
call.
going. I mean,
You had no choice.
You got no
Yeah.
choice. Now,
Now, first thing you do, and the other time you stop and help somebody.
you can't.
You couldn't.
You stop, you're dead.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Your job is to go fast as you could.
How close did any rounds come to you personally?
Pretty close.
Yeah. I imagine it was just like a ping, ping, ping. Type. Yeah. Because you're in a metal casket.
Right.
Pretty much.
But the thing of it is my unit, the M4 tractor, I had 20 90-millimeter shells in the back, plus gasoline on the top.
Yeah.
It was just like a bomb.
Yeah.
Now you get on the beach. We take the beach.
Yep.
I mean, there was Omaha, there was Utah, and what were the other beaches that they landed at?
There was the English and the northern.
In the northern. And I know Omaha that's the Saving Private Ryan beach, and that was one of the worst. At what point, how long did it last when you were on the beach of this battle?
3 days.
3 days?
3 days.
No sleep for 3 days. 4 days now because of the prep.
Right.
And everybody's exhausted. Everybody's on autopilot.
Everybody couldn't care less what happened. You know, you just felt that way, tired out.
That's the sheer exhaustion. You can't stop and eat. What are you going to stop and have a picnic?
K rations.
K rations. So you ate Franks and beans, maybe some crackers,
two cigarettes, spam.
Spam.
Lots of coffee.
You know what? Now you're selling a good product because I love spam.
Do you?
Oh, I love. My grandfather used to make me spam and eggs. I make my kids spam and eggs.
Not me. I won't even look at a can of spam.
We gotta get our sponsor is Grand Saloon. Nick, if you're listening at the Grand Saloon, 940 Van Houten Avenue, put spam on the menu. Please put spam on the menu. Make it a delicacy. That's all I want is spam. All right. So
Kevin just likes meat in a can.
spam is some delicious stuff. I don't know what it's made out of, and frankly, I don't want to know what it's made out of.
You never read the ingredients. Anything you don't read the ingredients.
It can't be the same as what we had. It's got to be different.
I don't know, but I've been to Austin, Minnesota, which is Spamtown, USA. That's where the Hormel factory is. I've been there.
Oh yeah,
I've seen it. Yes, I have. It's an interesting experience.
See, I may have to stop. I'm hungry now, so we can't talk about food. I may have to go get spam on the way home.
You got to cook. You got to cook that spam. Were you able when you ate your spam? You got to like char it.
We couldn't cook nothing.
What are you gonna do? Put it on a barrel of your rifle? Heat it up a little bit?
Hey, John Basilone, he burnt the hell out of his hand on his rifle. So
50 caliber gun with a barrel hot.
I've seen worse.
That'll cook spam for you.
I know in the desert, in the tank brigade, Patton's army in the Sherman tanks, they used to cook eggs they used to fry eggs on the top of the Sherman tanks.
My uncle used to be, was through the family now, Patton's head mechanic.
No kidding.
Really?
Imagine he had a problem fixing that car after that accident, though. That was probably a bad one. But now you get to say 3 days are gone. D-Day is over. At what point did you guys take your helmets off and just
take a deep breath?
That's